Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. Katie, you've been gone for a couple weeks and you have a new last name. What happened?
I do. I got married on the 1st, and that was a whole ordeal because of COVID and everything. But luckily, all of our people were real nice, and we got a photographer literally the day of. Things changed with that. So, but luckily, they were really, really nice and planned it all out for us. So that all got handled. And then I moved to Washington.
Well, congratulations, Mrs. Roach. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you had some time off. And your husband's working for Microsoft, right?
Yeah, he starts today.
Nice. Very good. Well, congratulations and good luck in the next phase of your life. Thomas Kimsey, CEO, President, Thomas USAF out of Atlanta. We are truly, we're almost bi-coastal here. I'm Southern California. We got Katie in Seattle. Thomas, you're not quite East Coast, but you're getting there.
Pretty close. So good to be with you, Bob. It's good to see you.
Let's see. We brought you on. We really want to talk about USDA and what's going on with that. But let's go real quick to our poll questions. Number one, Congress is back in session. I never would have guessed that one. I guess they're starting tomorrow. They're dealing with post office. But my question is, do you think while they're here, they're going to wrap up other hanging stuff that's out there, specifically in our niche? We want to know what's going on with PPP. Very good. What do you think about that, Thomas? We have optimistic people on a Monday morning.
Yeah, that's great to see. That's great to see. So hopefully Congress will get it together and we'll see what happens.
Well, I gotta think they'd rather start passing bills rather than go back to town hall meetings and have all these small business owners scream at them. So
I think so. I think they will.
I think there's some wise decisions there. Number two, this is Thomas's wheelhouse. So you're planning on doing a USDA BNI. BNI stands for Business and Industry, by the way, or CF, Community Facilities Loan. Hey, Thomas, real quick, I'm sure there's someone out there who doesn't know the difference. What the difference between the two loan programs?
Sure, the business and industry is pretty well for any business similar to, the SBA program. The biggest distinction with the community facility program is specifically for nonprofits.
Right.
Have to be a nonprofit, and that's really the big distinction.
For those of you who answer no, Thomas, what words of advice do you give them?
Well, what I would say is, the BNI program and the CF program are, two great programs under the USDA that, allow us to provide access to capital to rural America. So, I think you're missing out on a product that really helps rural businesses with long-term permanent financing.
Finally, our last question is near and dear to my heart. We have grandkids who are dealing with this. Has your online school attendance affected your footprint if you are in a footprint where your kids have to do virtual school? Just out of curiosity, major impact. Yeah. What do you think about that, Katie?
That doesn't surprise me too much. I've just heard a lot about how that's affecting, especially people who have to work from home, or if they're going back to work. If they're going back to work, they have to find somebody to watch their kids, and that's going to be really hard on them.
Yeah, I mean, this is difficult to juggle all of these things. Hey, let's see real quick. SBA issued a interim final rule on August 11th. That was on Friday. Katie, anything cool in that?
Oh, there's an FAQ and an interim final rule, and I think the next page goes over the interim final rule. But the FAQ is focused on agent fees, and they said that they do not affect the guarantee. Vision and dental are eligible for PPP loan funds, and economic injury disaster deduction is included in one of the last parts.
Thomas, I know you're involved in a lot of 504. What do you think about these rates?
These rates are just phenomenal. I wished I had a small business that I could buy a car, but I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I think it's just great, and I'm, glad to see so many small businesses.
Wait, and Prime today is what? What is Prime today?
Quarter.
So we're
way below prime.
yeah. I mean, it's just amazing what these rates are. I imagine is that the 2.2%? Is that the lowest it's ever been?
I believe it is, but I'm not certain of that, Bob. But
Yeah, but it's pretty low.
pretty low.
Let's move in. Yeah, obviously, I think we're all know about phasing, and let's be careful when we're sending wire transfers. We're sending it to the right people. Do have a double check on that. Just double check your domains. Thomas, talk to us about USDA. What's going on with that CARES Act? And just start at the top and tell us what USDA is doing for rural American Main Street.
Sure. No, thanks, Bob. I mean, there are a lot going on at USDA right now, a lot of exciting things. And so it's a good time for an update. Just like the SBA under the PPP program, the USDA's got the BNI CARES Act that provides working capital to our rural borrowers.
Which is a first, correct?
It is a first. There are $1 billion set aside for our BNI program, which is a good number. Still plenty of money available. That money is done on monthly draws, and it's based on a 12 times your expenses. It's not an average monthly, but it can just be based on a monthly number. And that program runs through the end of next September, so plenty of time there. I mean, we don't anticipate the funding being there till then, but there's still plenty of funding available. So that's a great tool out there. And then, the most exciting thing we've got going is the 1RD, which is a rewrite of the regs combining BNI, CF, water and waste, and our REAP program. That'll all be under one regulation. Those guaranteed loan programs under one regulation. And one of the biggest benefits that, Bob, we've talked about a lot is the elimination of tangible balance sheet equity. We're finally going to see that after many, many years of requesting.
Define what the issue is with that. Again, there's people who have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, so tangible balance sheet equity has been one of those items that's impacted a lot of businesses over the years, where we have to have 10% tangible balance sheet equity for existing, 20% for new, right. And on the balance sheet, and it's tangible, which most people, they're like, well, what is tangible balance sheet equity? Most people just look at equity, and that was the problem. You could ask 10 different CPAs, you'd probably get 10 different calculations, because nobody in the industry uses tangible balance sheet to deduct your things out of there.
You have these rural facilities that have all depreciated down, and they're not worth much balance sheet, but they're certainly worth something.
But they don't have the equity on the balance sheet. So that's probably one of the biggest things I know a lot of people will probably relate to. One of the other things is we're going to get guaranteed area construction for these programs. That's something we've advocated for years, which was eligible under the BNI program, but now we'll get it under community facility and REAP.
Are we getting any closer to a PLP type of program with BNI approval? Is that streamlined at all with new RD1?
We're not going to get a PLP program yet. I mean, I think it's something they're still looking at, but I think that's down the road. We do hope with the 1RD, the IT, the technological platform they are still building, that we'll begin to get a more efficient process of submitting and processing these applications. But this is something that, we started working on probably 3 years ago.
Right.
Did a lot of meetings. We do appreciate the USDA for giving stakeholders opportunity for input and listening to our concerns. So we're finally here. We're a little over a month away from that going live, and I think it's going to benefit the agency, is not only us, the private sector, but our rural borrowers as well.
Thomas, any forgiveness clause in these loans similar to SBA?
No forgiveness right now. It's still got to be repaid under the BNI CARES Act loans. Those do have to be repaid over a 10-year term, but they are having to be repaid. Another item that we've been working on, Bob, is to get our rural borrowers the same benefit the SBA borrowers got in 6 months of principal and interest payments. So we've gotten some good traction on that the last couple of weeks. In the Senate, looks like we do have a a bill number with bipartisan support. Obviously, it still has to get full support, but I'm pretty excited about that we may see that in the next stimulus bill, and we've worked pretty hard on that over the last few months, and there's been a lot more interest, I can say. So hopefully next time I can tell you that it's done.
Good. Let's go through some basics. What is the realistic maximum loan amount for this program?
So the realistic, the BNI program does go up to $25 million.
Right.
And, that's one of the things under the BNI or under the 1RD that we're anticipating a guarantee percentage listed across the board up to $25 million. Now that guarantee percentage and the guarantee fee will not be published until right at the date of the new fiscal year. So we anticipate that the 25 million will be more realistic.
Really? Yeah, because in the past, it's even though they've quoted 25 million, it's the unofficial cap has been 10 million. You think we'll be able to go up to 25 million?
Yes, that's the goal. And obviously under the community facility programs, we can do much larger loans, basically up to 100 million.
Define a typical community facility project.
A community facility project would be, you could do a replacement hospital. We can do a number of different nonprofits. We could do an assisted living. We could do a rural health clinic. We can do student housing. I mean, you can do a
firehouse,
fire truck, firehouse. Anything like that. Public safety. Anything for that municipal. You could basically build. As I like to say over there at community facility, you can basically build a city.
Yeah.
A lot done under that. And also now under the guaranteed loan program, where it used to be only would go up to 20,000 population, we can go up to now 50,000 population.
Was it one of your presentations? And I apologize if I'm getting my facts mixed, but didn't you have a dam that you built on a renewable energy project? Was that one of yours?
It wasn't one of mine, but yes, they did do a project like that. It was it had some renewable energy and some infrastructure like that. So there's been a big push to do infrastructure.
Yeah. Awesome. So when does this all take effect?
So the new 1RD will go into effect October 1.
Okay.
And right now, if your applications will continue to be processed as under the normal regulations. And October 1st, you want to wait to get those benefits, you have to wait till October 1st.
Any chance BNI will run out of money between now and September 30th?
We're not anticipating that. We feel like there's sufficient funds. There is a fair amount of activity, and we've got some applications there as well, but we're anticipating there'll be sufficient funding, but you never know.
Tell us some of the other advantages to BNI, specifically address the secondary market. How strong is that, and how is that structured?
Yeah, I mean, the secondary market is a great benefit for your BNI loans to be sold. The premiums are still strong there as well, and just like your SBA loans, that the BNI program provides that same benefit. So the premiums are very good there. They still remain strong, and that's really a big benefit for our lenders to be able to utilize that secondary market under the BNI program.
Right. Well, the two things I like, number one, you don't have the secondary market premium tax where you have to split it with 110 with the agency. Whatever you sell the loan for, you get to keep the premium. Also, the prepayment penalty, which is an important factor in determining the premium, is negotiable.
That's right. So you don't have a set prepayment penalty that is set by the borrower. And as you said, the big benefit is not paying that tax over 110, so you get to keep all your premium. And also your community facility loans can also be sold in the secondary market as well.
Thomas, I've described the difference between SBA and BNI. SBA is a factory and very smooth, and it comes in the front and spits out a nice loan at the end, where BNI, we're building the car from the tires up. Do you see with these changes or these proposals, do you see streamline? I know we don't have POP, but do you see streamlining of the process? And the second part of that question is just very quickly tell us how the state office is involved.
Sure, I do see with the 1RD things being more streamlined. The regulation will not allow the state offices to sort of interpret the regulation. Where in the past, a state office could say, well, we're not going to provide the guarantee during construction, even though it was allowed. This regulation will not allow that to happen. It will allow the regulation. They'll have to follow the regulations so you have more consistency, and that's something you heard a lot from stakeholders was the inconsistency. So the 1RD will provide that consistency. I think it'll make things more efficient and smoother, not only for us in the private sector and our stakeholders, but also for the agency. I think it's a win-win for both the agency and us, so we're being more consistent and everybody knows what's expected.
I've attended many of your seminars. In fact, you and I were talking on whether, unfortunately, we're going to postpone the secondary market conference that we usually hold the first week in December in DC. We try to do that back to back with you. But I don't want to bring people to DC. The primary reason we have it at Marty Techler's office, Blake Rome, and their office is going to be closed. So unless we're out in the street,
well, we're going to give it a little more time, Bob, to see if we can have our annual
maybe virtual
table. But we all know where we're sitting today with things. So.
Well, you have great support from Washington. Tell us a little bit. I know there's a new administrator. Tell us about that person.
Yeah, so yes, that's the other part of, like I said, there's a lot going on at USDA. We have a new administrator there under the BNI program. It's Rebecca Adcock. I had the pleasure to speak to her a couple of weeks ago, so excited to see her on board. So we've got an administrator there. And we've also got a new administrator for the community facility rural housing program, which community facility falls under. That's lots of new people, but that's good. I'm glad to see administrators put it in place.
Let's talk eligibility. How does that work? I know that you did a transaction in rural Georgia at a hospital that certainly qualifies, and it's interesting in that presentation, and something I've been following is in a lot of these situations in rural America, these rural counties, the hospital is the number one provider of jobs. And we have a bad situation where a lot of these rural hospitals are closing. But I know that you've done some transactions at the Port of Savannah, which is not many people know it, but was it the largest port on the East Coast or second largest?
I believe it is the largest. It's the fastest growing port in America. I can say that, and it's quite impressive. It's quite an economic generator for us here in the state of Georgia, as well as the whole Southeast.
So how do you? But I know you've done some freezers at the port. So how is that eligible?
Sure. So yes, we did a cold storage facility that was outside of Savannah, which it did fall within the eligible area of a USDA. It did. Okay. Looking at the map, so it was eligible based on the map. Where you can do urban deals if they're if you're creating sort of a food hub, they are eligible within an urban setting, which is a little different. Obviously, the way the regulation reads to allow those to benefit from the BNI program.
Citizenship issue is not a problem. Go ahead.
It does not have to be. It could be a foreign citizen, foreign company as well. So that's not an issue.
Yeah. I mean, is it what is their motivation? Are they looking at creating jobs, retaining jobs, or creating infrastructure? What is their primary purpose?
Rural development that these loan programs fall under, particularly the BNI program, creating jobs, preserving jobs. So that's the objective. Particularly, as you say, in rural America, that hospital is usually your largest employer, or the school. So we can bring jobs and industry into rural America, what it's all about.
Yeah. Katie, we didn't have you much feedback, but congratulations again, and we'll be seeing you from an undisclosed location in the great state of Washington. We have a webinar coming up. We're going to go through 159 and just an update of that. Also, what we should be doing for PPP fee disclosure. In that, if you have any questions at USDA, get a hold of Thomas. They're a great resource. And Thomas, I appreciate very much you coming and giving us an update. There's a whole lot of other things. Remember, we can piggyback these on behind an SBA loan, which you've done, or maybe para pursue.
Yeah, the combination loans are very good to do.
Yeah.
So,
so you can combine those.
Another great benefit.
Yeah. So they're complicated. But they're go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, no, they're complicated, but I mean, that's what we do day in and day out. We understand the program, but it also provides a great benefit, to our rural borrowers. And, like I say, provides access to capital to rural America. That's what we're trying to do every day.
Number one NAICS code is still hospitality. Is that still number one?
It has been. Yes, it has been. I think that obviously will be declining, but yes.
I shouldn't. I'm laughing with all of us. I'm not laughing any particular segment. Yes, I agree with you. It will be, unfortunately.
Yes, it is a lot of activity there.
Well, very good. Hey, thank you very much, Katie. Good to see you. We'll see you tomorrow. We got a bunch of reporting we're going to do. Thomas, as always, you have an open invite. Thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street. One entrepreneur. Oh, and America's rural Main Street. One entrepreneur at a time. Thanks a lot.
Bob. Bye-bye.